Hey y'all, I want to ask y'all a question. Does God need us to accomplish His purposes? Specifically, His ultimate purpose that He has? Because I want to read you something and then I'll go into something I heard a couple of days ago. Mark 13:7. These are the words in red, the words by Jesus, the words spoken by Jesus. So we might take them with more gravitas than anything else. But when you hear wars and rumors of wars, do not be troubled, for such things must happen. Now that word must is very important. Such things must happen, but the end is not near yet. For, for Nathan will rise against Nathan, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be earthquakes in the various places, and then there will be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows. But watch out for yourselves, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and you will be beaten in the synagogues. You will be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony to them, and the gospel must first be preached to all the nations. But when they arrest you and deliver you up, do not worry. Beforehand, if you meditate what you speak. But whatever is given you in that hour, speak that. For it is not you who speak, but the Holy Spirit. Now brother will betray brother to death, and a father child, and children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. I've heard something on that too, but don't fall for the obfuscation of that and the misuse of that. Read that in its own context as you stood the Bible. But moving on. Just the side. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not yet to read or understand. Then, yet those who are in Judea feed of the mountain, yet him who is on the housetop not go down into the house, nor enter or take anything out of his house. And yet him who is on the field not go back to get his clothes. And woe to those who are pregnant, and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter. For in those days there will be tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of creation, which God created until the time nor ever shall be. And in yes, the order, so in those days, no flesh would be saved, and for the elect whom he chooses, he shortened the days. Then if anyone said to you, look, here's the Christ, or look, he's there, do not believe it. For false Christ and false prophets will rise and show signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. But take heed, see, I have told you all things beforehand. But in those days, after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars of heaven will fall, and the powers in heaven will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of sky, power and glory. And then he will send his angels and gather together the eggs of the four winds, from the farthest part of the earth to the farthest part of heaven. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When his brand has already become tender and put forth years, you know that someone's near. So you also know when you see these things happening, know that it is near, at the doors. Authority, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Take heed, watch, pray, for you do not know the time is. It is like a man going to a far country or yet to the house, and gave authority to servants and do each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch it. Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, at midnight, at the crowing of the rooster, or in the morning. Yet coming suddenly, he will find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to you all, watch. Now that the yacht taken, or it's seemingly a yacht taken anyway, it's talking about the coming of man, the coming destruction of the world and everything, and what must happen before Jesus comes back. What must happen is the gospel must be spread, and then the end will come. But back to my question, does God need us to accomplish his purposes? And I ask that to say this. A while ago, a couple days ago or so, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I found something that basically said, oh, you want a revolution? You want everything to go back to normal, basically? Who are you to stop? Tell me how you're going to stop revelation, how you're going to stop prophecy. Well, that is something to consider. I mean, that's something that's far-fetched if you even think about it for a second. But that is something to consider. Should we... Basically, what that was saying is, what that was asking is, should we even bother? Should we just yet these things happen under the guise of prophecy and under the guise that it's just supposed to happen? Well, no. God's purposes will take care of themselves. We don't need to help God out. But what God had called us to do is be good stewards of what he's given us. Be good stewards of his people, be good stewards of his children, be good stewards of his possessions, which are all his. We need to be. And a big part of that is protection. We can't just let things happen. That's not, well, not only that not biblical to begin with, but that's not being good stewards anyway. I mean, if we just let things fall into disarray, into decay, when we have the education or we have the stuff to stop it or bring degeneracy forward, I mean, we should. God's purposes will take care of itself. Like I say, that's an interesting question, but that's also a question, but that's also an excuse to say, oh, all this is happening, but it's going to be fine in the end, so I'm just going to leave it alone. No. The word of the Lord must be spread for the end to come anyway. So, we must, regardless of whether they listen, we must bring degeneracy forward. And the best way to bring degeneracy into the light is to bring Jesus Christ with us. To bring Jesus Christ into the light, in the forefront. That'll expose degeneracy, whether they isn't or not. And sadly, most of them won't, because, like I say, it says, wide is the gate, and broad the way that he trucks in, but narrow the way, and few people find it. I'm paraphrasing that because I don't have the verse in front of me. But yeah, sadly, odd people won't. Sadly, other people will fall into degeneracy, and will fall into despair, and will fall into a self-aggrandizing trap that the world and the devil has ultimately set forth. But that doesn't mean we should just give up. That doesn't mean we should just be silent. I'm reminded of when God told the various prophets, hey, I want you to say these things. Now, most of these people aren't going to listen to you, but I still want you to say these things. I still want you to be faithful to me. Yeah, I can say if God gives us the education and God gives us the means to learn about the degeneracy that is happening, then we must speak out against it. We must be good stewards. We must be good stewards of the children. We must be good stewards of those under our watch and under our care to protect. But it is hard. It is hard because you can show someone directly what is happening, and they still won't believe you. And ultimately that's what'll happen. We expose people to the light of Jesus Christ, and they just won't believe us. Or worse, we expose people to their own degeneracy, and they don't even believe degeneracy anymore, because they don't have any moral standard. Indeed, a moral standard at all yet. They think they have a moral standard, but when push comes to shove, without Jesus Christ, your morality is ultimately going to fall through because you don't have a strong foundation of which it is built on. Guys, I know it can be hard to expose degeneracy, hard to expose the truth, hard to expose what we know is going on, but we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility because we know all of these things are going to pass, or are going to come to pass, or are happening right now. And we have responsibility to expose that. And hey, you're gone a little bit of the bright side. If we expose that and they don't believe us, we've not... I forget exactly what I was going to say, but if we expose that and they don't believe us, then they're not rejecting us, they're rejecting God. We've done our job, we've done what He set forth. Also, guys, I'm praying about something, praying about maybe a youth group, or at least a group for younger people at my church. So whoever is listening to this should be praying about that, because it's still in my mind, still in my heart to do that. But guys, I love you. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.